All right, have and have not fans. Thanks to A Series for the recommendation. I finally did it. I finally downloaded the Watch Own app, and my gosh, that is amazing. I got to finish the episode 10 minutes early. So this is 9:53 when I'm recording this video. So obviously I haven't seen the trailer for next week. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to extend the gift card giveaway until tomorrow. I'll do the trailer breakdown for next week's episode. I believe it's called Morning. And then I'll announce the winners there. Like I said in my other video, the computer, thank goodness, worked tonight. But I still might need to carry it to the shop. And there are over 70 comments, so I still need time to read through them to pick the winner. So don't be disappointed. I will be still giving away the gift cards, so be on the lookout. Overall enough, let me just say it up front. The only scene I could have done without was the Wyatt scene. Other than that, a pretty damn good episode. Highly rewatchable. I just finished it, like I said. And the major scenes obviously took place at Catherine's house, at David's house when Veronica and Jeffrey showed up, and then finally between Charles and Candice. Now, let me talk about that scene first. I will say this is very good. I pointed it out already in the video. Episode leaks. Can Landon reunite Charles and Candice? It was well played. Pretty much. Let me just say, and I'm sorry to just ramble on, but as much as I want to like this scene, I just hope that it sticks. By that I mean, don't have Candice going back to her old ways within the next 3 episodes or maybe in the back half of the season, because it means that all these lengthy scenes we get with her breaking down and crying and having a nervous breakdown and stuff like that means nothing if she decides to go back to her old ways of getting money and whatnot. And when she was talking with Broderick, I'm like, okay, Broderick, Landon, y'all need to chill before Candice jumps on y'all like she did on Jim. And we finally got a name drop for Gia. So does this mean she'll come up at least one more episode? She might. I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. But in any case, yeah, she wants to get the whole gang, Rocky, Broderick, RKGF for one big last ditch effort to get the money from. Well, then again, I don't know how that would work. I don't know. They'll try to probably extort from Catherine, but I don't know. I just hope that this whole Charles thing goes through just so we don't have to see any more of these schemes. But let me just say, a running theme in this episode is like every good guy who seems like they're too good to be true. Man, I don't want to jump around in this review, but going to the David scene with Veronica after Veronica left and after Jeffrey and Madison were talking, and then Jeffrey went up the stairs and Madison was giving him like this intense stare. And I'm like, yo, Madison got something just like with Derek and I did a video on it. Are these guys too good to be true? I mean, you got Charles who's like, look, one more time, please, for me, open up, let me into your life. Because like Candice said, one more heartbreak, I can't take it. And I agree. If Candice gets heartbroken in the way she is now, I don't think there's any coming back. I don't think there's any guy number 3 that can bring her back. Jesus might have a hard time bringing Candice back from the brink if Charles isn't who he says he is. Guys, again, this was a great scene, but it just seems too good to be true. Too perfect. But Landon did a great job, like I said in the video before the review. Great little subtle nods to his body language, like making sure to gently put his hand on Charles's shoulder, but not for too long, even hesitating to touch him in the beginning, because once again, the whole thing between those two is like, look, I don't want to cross any lines, but you two really need to, get together and work it out. Because when Candice came in that hotel asking for drinks, she looked worse than Wyatt did in jail asking for heroin, my gosh. But going back briefly to that scene, I literally, this was a waste of time. Do we really have to do the back and forth? I'm going to testify. No, I'm not. I want heroin. Fine, you're going back to jail. No, I'm going to testify. So the doctor was going to help him detox, but nope, here's one pill that's super strong, and we're just going to wait and see what it does to help you calm down. Honestly, that scene was, I could care less about it. But then we have a situation where I feel like I'm reviewing this backwards, but we get to David's house pretty much, Madison's on the stoop talking about the whole thing. Well, nobody's here to answer the door. He knows where Jeffrey is because remember, he saw him at the hospital last week, but remember, he's remembering the strikes. He already has strike 1, so it's like, I'm not going to do strike 2 by snitching and telling you where Jeffrey is, even though David kept saying, could you call him? Tell me where he is. And then when Let me say this much. When Charles is showing up at the hotel and then Candice like, damn, and then she turns around trying to avoid being seen, it's kind of like avoiding your ex in the grocery store or whatever, where you see them and you try to hide. It's like, oh crap, let me hide myself before they notice me. That actually happened to me today, believe it or not. That'll probably be a story for another time. But Madison's changing the band-aids, the bandages on his back is like, Mr. Harrington, your wife pulled up. Damn, it's like, I'm getting healed off this one explosion. Now she wants to probably burn up this house too. But then he goes down there. And can we talk about the fact that for the first time, Veronica did not break into the house or force her way in there. She literally waited at the front door for David to answer it. Okay. But yeah, a very interesting scene between the two, talking about how I thought about what you said. I want to work it out. Let's start over. Date like we did in college. Again, great scene because we're getting a little bit of exposition on the two, how they got together and whatnot. I liked it. She's going to give up drinking. I mean, that's like 75% of Veronica's character and who she is on the show. So I almost forgot what it's like to see Veronica sober. Go back to like season 1 if you want to see that. But what I really liked about it is the fact that I do see that David is really playing the game, to even go so far as to say, I agree, Jeffrey can't be living this life. I wonder if, when he says I see it now, is he referring to Jeffrey being gay or Jeffrey carelessly messing around with these guys? Because when he said I see it now, I'm wondering if he's referring to being around abusive people like Justin, or as Veronica thinks that she knows how David sees it, is it in regards to him not being gay at all? But then, we also saw a bit of Veronica backtracking when the nurse was there at the house, but it's not a girl. And she's like, oh, I need to meet her. Like, Madison, it's a he, Madison. It's like, oh, it is a girl after all. So, and then it's like, Veronica, pick your battles. Cause it's like, we don't need your services anymore. Which is interesting because if you remember, Madison was trying to sign the paperwork to leave the house last week. So if he's sticking around, gotta keep an eye on that. But I think that when it comes down to it, what I liked about this scene the most is David and Veronica getting back together allegedly, but Jeffrey is always going to be that decisive factor between the two because, again, go back to those early episodes. That's when the rift between the two truly started. It really started in the episode My Name is Veronica, when Veronica found out that David was helping Jim cover up his affair, and he even lied to her. So that was the first cause of shaky foundation. But then once Jeffrey came out of the closet and they both kind of took sides, that's what kind of made the canyon deeper. And then Maggie Day got thrown into the equation, which just made the rift between the two even wider than, humanly possible. But she brings up how it's gotten too toxic, too much venom. And I'm thinking to myself, there's been too much death, but nobody cares to mention that. So do you think those two will really get back together, go to that, what was it, the food cart or the diner with the chili dogs and whatnot? And I love it. I was waiting for her to playfully touch his back, but it kind of slowly happened when she went in for a hug. And it's like, are you okay? And it's like, bitch, you tried to kill me. But look, if David is really playing a game, he is playing it to a T. And it goes back to what I was saying last week, that yes, I do believe David is playing her, but Veronica isn't seeing it because David knows the way to her heart, pretty much because he knows how to play with her emotions. So I think that it's going to be payback, just like, Erica was playing with his emotions, even though he still thinks Veronica was the one that sent Erica to the house, but it was really Candice. So overall, that was a fantastic scene. And can we talk about the fact that Madison and Diane both had front row seats to family drama? Jeffrey shows up. Look at the fact that his face was covered almost completely with shadows, almost like, an ominous scene where he comes into the house and can't believe what he's seeing. But basically those two say they're going to try to work things out. Jeffrey's freaking out. And what got me is the fact that when they kiss each other goodbye, Jeffrey's looking on in like disgust and confusion, which is ironically enough the same way Veronica looks anytime she catches him kissing Landon, Madison, or Justin. So those subtle body languages and continuity to previous episodes is what made this episode really damn good. So then Madison is speaking for the audience. Now I see why went to see Justin and whatnot, because your parents are the same way. You know what? I see it now. It's all to the good. So That was pretty cool. And then he's like, did you tell him? No, I didn't tell him. I learned my lesson. Smart man. Jeffrey, shut the hell up and go up the stairs. Ain't nobody thinking about you. Even though David said, I'll take care of it. Yeah, I don't know. The big question is, if time goes on, will he actually really start to fall for Veronica? Or forgiveness is something that's very interesting, man. It's like, literally, you burnt down a first house. You literally slapped the white off of Maggie. Tried to kill me in a car bombing. Threatened me multiple times, blackmailed our son. Yeah, I don't think David forgave her. This is all a bigger scheme. But looking through the notes here, yeah, I think we're talking about the very first chunk of the episode, from the beatdown to when Jim and Catherine are having their argument. But basically, can we talk about the fact that Hannah was kicking that ass? Candice was acting all tough, but it was really Hannah doing most of the work. Like, if you notice at the beginning of the episode, Jim did like one little, I don't know if it was a backhand or was like the back of his fist, but one little hit, and Candice was sent all the way to the door. And then Hannah was the one that got him on. Hannah was kicking ass. I don't care what Candice trying to act tough. It's like, don't make me punch you in the face again. Look, Candice, step back. Your mama handled this. This pretty much proves that if Hannah and Candice got into it, Hannah will whoop that ass. So this further gives me information that if Hannah and Veronica went at it, I don't care if Veronica is taller heels or not, I think Hannah will win that fight. I'm not going to lie. I think Hannah will win that fight. Then Diane shows up trying to break it up. I'm going to call the cops. Call the cops. She literally had a Medea moment right there, which is ironic because the Medea family funeral comes out on Friday. And can we, this Candice and Hannah, oh my God. Candice might have been the lesser in that fight, but she certainly used her brain in that moment. Like, look, we're in his house, technically Catherine's. If you call the cops, it's not going to be good for us. Not call the cops. Okay. So, yeah, Jim sitting on the the stairs, pretty much, getting an earful. It's a back and forth exchange. It is really good. Like, I could not do the scene justice. I might have to do an entire video talking about it, but really it's about, I will kill you if you ever come after my kids again. Then Catherine shows up, pretty much wants to know what the hell is going on. And for good reason. I mean, her husband is literally, ruffled. You got the whore number 9 standing next to the door, and you got your good friend who's looking, just hella tired right now. But basically, it's not much to say. I don't mean this in a bad way, but I've already talked about most of this. 24 hours to get the money back. Catherine taking charge. The fact when Jim goes, Lord have mercy, just mocking. He is funniest when he's mocking people. John Snyder was having a good time doing this scene, and I just enjoyed it. It was very, very well executed. Like I said, not much to add on to the scene that I haven't already said, except for the fact that I just love how, as Jim was going up the stairs, and Candice was holding Hannah, and he's like, Mama, do you see? And that was another thing, calling her Mama. We've had this happen before, but in this context of the two of them being on the same side, I loved it. The fact that she was like, Mama, now do you see? Now do you really see what these people think of you? Mainly referring more to Jim than Catherine, but I just loved it. And then Catherine's trying to console Hannah, but it's like, look, no. I need to go, because obviously it's like, I think you need to go, referring to Candice. But Hannah, for obvious reasons, ain't having it, so they leave the house. Mitch and Benny pull up, and I just love that while Benny is getting exposition from Candice, Mitch is standing there, and then in the background we just see Hannah walking further and further away, like the movie The Help, the ending of the movie The Help. But I mean, Benny calls her out about, like, look, you think you're not really defending me, you're just here because you want that money. And I get it. Catherine pretty much speaks for the audience. Well, it's not your money to begin with. Very nicely done. But at the same time, while Benny's calling out Candice for it, I'm like, look, I would just give the money back. Like, literally, in this bull crap, because I just give the money back, I get it. You were stabbed. Fight that battle legally and whatnot. But as for right now, just give the money back to the people it belongs to. Yeah, it's Wyatt's money, but just give it back to the criers. But in any case, Jim standing over the balcony and they're yelling back and forth, which is pretty funny. Get off my land. It's Catherine. It's funny. Jim, it's my money. It's Wyatt. This is my house. This is my land. It's Catherine's. I love how I wanted him to threaten Mitch or say something to him, because that's a Malone, Mama Rose's grandson. Can you believe, what if Mitch went back and said, I was threatened by Jim Cryer? Oh, hell's going, the father and the son. Wyatt for putting Vinny in the hospital, Jim for threatening the grandson. So yeah, but that didn't happen. So basically, you know, once again, we got Quincy Jr. on the phone. It was pretty decent scene, I guess. Kind of forced in there, but I just like how Benny was on the attack. You know, like, I'm not here for any of your bull crap. Now, why isn't Benny always this smart? You know, gosh, because, you know, yeah, it's all Candice's fault, but at the same time, Benny, you're the one who didn't sign the bank documents when you and Hannah were sitting in the bank. So don't put it all on Candice, but it's definitely mostly her. But to be honest, if you would have signed the documents when you did, you wouldn't have been stabbed by Jim, but you probably would have still been assaulted by the Malones. But whatever. You could have just took your ass back in the house like Mitch told you to, but whatever. But in any case, Catherine calls him back in. They have the discussion about the cancer. And the biggest takeaway is the fact that Jim says, I hate her. I hate her. One more reason I hate her even more now. So is that a reference to the fact, because it's like, so she knew you had cancer and nursed you back to health. So when he said that, that's another reason to hate Hannah more. Is he referring to the fact that he resents Hannah because if Hannah didn't interfere, Catherine probably would have died? Or is he just speaking out of jealousy because Catherine had an intimate relationship, not, you know, sexual, but intimate with another person during a time where she was literally dying while he had nothing to do with it? And mind you, this is season 1. Again, if you don't know, go back and rewatch season 1, at least the first half on YouTube or on Hulu. Hulu could have got that on there. And you'll see the cancer process, you know, when she was going through it, the breast cancer operation. And that's when Celine was getting edgy, because she was jealous of Hannah as well, because she didn't know about the cancer, but she was just jealous how Hannah was recently hired, but is, you know, closer with the boss than she's ever been, even though she's worked there for years. So that is a very interesting piece of dialogue that I'll probably dissect in the video. But I think that about does it, folks. This was a very strong episode. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I think the Wyatt scene was the only weak scene of the bunch. And a 9 might seem a bit high in some areas, like the whole Candice thing. Like, will it stick? Will this speech, will this getting close to Charles stick? That's pretty much it. That was a good episode. Good episode. Oh, yeah, and then Catherine chewing out Diane, kind of like Jeffrey doing the same to Madison. When those two, Madison got called down the stairs, Diane was trying to break up a fight because, you know, her boss is getting his ass kicked. So, yeah, overall, this was a great episode, guys. And this is what I hate about the show. Every time a break is about to come up, whether it be a mid-season or season finale, that's when the show gets very good. And, oh, I did skip over this. Jeffrey comes back, says he didn't leave. I love you too. And I do not like the idea of Jeffrey going over to their apartment. I don't like it. Something does not seem right about it. And Madison calls him out for it next week. And then, I mean, just, you got to look at these characters when the person they're talking to leaves the scene. And you got to look at how the lighting is and what their facial expressions were. That smirk Justin did, I don't trust it. But yeah, overall, solid episode. I loved it. Once again, A-Series, thanks for the pushing it took to get me to get the HAHN app. I highly recommend getting the HAHN app because you basically skip commercials. You get to watch the episode all 40 minutes at one time. You'll be finished before 10 o'clock. So with that being said, again, I will announce the contest winners in my trailer breakdown video because I got to read through the comments. A busy day, dealing with computer issues, getting videos up before the episode aired. So let me get this episode review up on the channel and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much for making it to the end of this video. Be sure to click the thumbs up button if you like what you just saw. And if you have anything you would like to add to the video itself, go down to the comment section below and type out your thoughts. And I also have social media related to the haves and have-nots: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook page, Facebook group. Links to everything will be in the description below. And if you like action figures, video games, and trading cards, I have an eBay store as well where there's free shipping on everything. But I also have a second YouTube channel that I'm working on where I talk about things that are non-Tyler Perry related, such as anime, superhero shows and movies, music, pop culture, and sometimes political news, depending on what the circumstances are. Be sure to check out that channel as well. In the top left hand corner, you should see a picture of Candice Young. You can click on her to subscribe to the Haves and the Have Nots review. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. And if you like the video you just saw, be sure to check out the other 2 videos that should be popping up on the right hand side. Trust me, if you like this video, you'll love them too. Once again, thanks so much for visiting my YouTube channel, and I'll talk to you in the next video.